I'm writing this with shaking hands after the most devastating conversation of my life, and I need to know if what I did next makes me a monster or just someone who finally stood up for himself. Background: I'm 35M, middle child of 4 siblings. Jake, 40M, me, Emma, 32F, and Sophie, 28F. Our dad, Robert, 60M, is a retired engineer, very traditional, very concerned with appearances and family reputation. Mom passed away from cancer 3 years ago, and since then, Dad has been the anchor holding our family together. Or so I thought. I need to be upfront about something that's central to this story. I'm a recovering addict. I've been clean for 12 years now, but from ages 20 to 23, I was a complete disaster. Cocaine, primarily, but I wasn't picky. I stole money from family, missed important events, showed up high to my grandmother's funeral, and generally put everyone through hell. The worst incident was at Jake's wedding 15 years ago. I was supposed to be a groomsman, but I disappeared for 3 days before the wedding on a bender, missed the rehearsal dinner, and showed up to the ceremony strung out and sweating. I made it through the ceremony, but at the reception, I got into a screaming fight with my dad in front of all the guests, accused him of never believing in me, and stormed out. The video of that fight got passed around our extended family for years. I hit rock bottom about 6 months later and finally got clean. Real clean, not just I'll quit tomorrow clean. I went to rehab, did therapy, joined an A, got sponsors, the whole program. I've been sober for 12 years, have a steady job as an electrician, own my own house, and have been in a stable relationship with my girlfriend Maria for 8 years. My family was supportive of my recovery. Dad helped pay for rehab, came to a few family therapy sessions, and we slowly rebuilt our relationship. It wasn't perfect, but I thought we'd moved past the worst of it. I became the uncle who never missed a birthday, who showed up for school plays, who could be counted on. I thought I'd earned my way back into the family. When Mom got sick, I was there every day. I took leave from work to help with her care, slept in hospital chairs, and held Dad's hand at her funeral. We grieved together as a family, and I really thought that we were solid. Then Dad announced he wanted to plan a big family reunion for his 60th birthday. Your mother always wanted to see all her kids together for my 60th, he said at our monthly family dinner back in January. I want to make that happen. Something special, something she would have loved. We were all excited. Dad hadn't shown much interest in big celebrations since Mom died, so this felt like a positive step forward. We started talking about dates, venues, who to invite from the extended family. I'll set up a group chat so we can coordinate, Sophie offered. She's always been a family organizer. Actually, Dad said, let me handle the planning. I want this to be special, and I have specific ideas about how your mother would have wanted it. We all agreed. It was his birthday, his celebration, his tribute to Mom. That's when exclusion started, but so subtly that I didn't notice it at first. Sophie mentioned a planning call Dad had organized for the following week. I never got an invite. When I asked about it, she looked confused. Oh, Dad said he was handling all the coordination directly. I figured he'd call you separately. He didn't. Then Jake casually mentioned the family planning dinner Dad had hosted at his house. Again, I wasn't invited. That's weird, Emma said when I brought it up. I thought you couldn't make it because of work. I never knew about it. The pattern continued for months. Family meetings I wasn't included in, group emails I wasn't copied on, decisions being made without my input. Every time I asked about it, there was always an explanation. Dad was keeping things simple, or didn't want to overwhelm everyone, or was handling that part separately. I started getting information secondhand. The reunion was going to be a long weekend in August at a lake house Dad was renting. There would be about 40 people, all 4 siblings, our significant others, the grandkids plus aunts, uncles, and cousins. There would be a big catered dinner on Saturday night for Dad's actual birthday. It sounded amazing. It also sounded like something I was being systematically excluded from planning. In May, I finally got direct communication from Dad, a text with the dates and location. Can you make these dates? He asked. Need to know for final head count. Not excited to celebrate with you, or can't wait to see you there. Just logistics. I confirmed I could make it and asked if there was anything I could help with. He responded that everything was handled. 2 weeks later, Emma let slip something that made my stomach drop. "I'm so excited about the surprise video Dad's putting together," she said during a family barbecue. "What surprise video?" "The one with everyone's memories of Mom. We all recorded messages about our favorite moments with her. It's going to be so beautiful." I stared at her. I didn't record anything. "What do you mean?" Dad said he was collecting videos from all of us. He never asked me for one. Emma's face fell. That can't be right." But it was right. Dad had asked Jake, Emma, and Sophie to record video messages about Mom for a tribute he was putting together for his birthday celebration. He'd never asked me. That night, I called him. "Dad, Emma mentioned a video tribute for Mom. I'd love to contribute something." Long pause. "Oh, that? I've already finished editing it. We're all set. But I'd like to share some memories, too. I have some beautiful stories about Mom. It's really more of a curated piece. I don't want to get too long." Curated. That word hit me like a punch. "Dad, am I actually invited to your birthday celebration?" "Of course you're invited. I sent you the dates." "I mean really invited. To participate, not just to show up." Another long pause. "We'll talk about this later." "No, let's talk about it now." "Not over the phone." He hung up. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about the word curated. What did that mean? What was being curated out? The next day, I decided to do some investigating. I called my Aunt Carol, Dad's sister, who I knew was invited to the reunion. "Carol, I'm so excited about Dad's party. What did you think of the planning call he organized with the extended family?" "Oh, honey, it was wonderful. Robert has put so much thought into this. The whole thing is going to be perfect. Just family. Just the people who really mattered to him and represented the best of his marriage to your mother." My blood went cold. The people who really matter? Well, he wanted to be a celebration of the best times, the happiest memories. He's been so thoughtful about creating the right atmosphere. What do you mean, the right atmosphere? Oh, just, you know how your father is about things being just so. He wants everything to be perfect for the celebration. I was getting the same feeling I used to get right before a drug deal went bad. That instinct that something was very, very wrong. I decided to call Jake directly. "Jake, can I ask you something about Dad's party?" "Sure. Have you noticed that I seem to be left out of a lot of planning?" Silence. "Then, what do you mean?" "I mean I haven't been included in any planning calls. I wasn't asked to contribute to the video tribute. I'm finding out about details secondhand. It feels like I'm being deliberately excluded." More silence. "Jake, I don't know what to tell you, man. Do you know something I don't? Maybe you should talk to Dad about this." I tried. He hung up on me. "I can't. This isn't my place." But something in his tone told me everything I needed to know. Jake knew exactly what was going on, and he was uncomfortable about it. I hung up and immediately drove to Dad's house. I was done with phone calls and vague explanations. Dad was in his garage, working on some project. When I pulled up, he saw me coming and his whole body tensed. "We need to talk," I said. "I'm busy right now." "Dad, what's going on with your party? Why am I being excluded from everything?" He put down his tools and looked at me for a long moment. Then he sighed, like I was exhausting him. "You really want to do this now?" "Yes, I really want to do this now." "Fine, let's go inside." We sat at his kitchen table, the same table where we'd had family dinners my whole life, where he'd helped me with homework, where we'd had the conversation about Mom's diagnosis. Now it felt like enemy territory. "Dad, I need you to explain to me why I'm being left out of planning your birthday celebration." He was quiet for a long time, staring at his hands. "Because I want this celebration to be perfect," he finally said. "What does that mean?" "It means I want it to be a celebration of family, of love, of the best parts of our life together. I want to honor your mother's memory properly. And I can't be part of that." He looked up at me then, and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Not anger, not disappointment. Something colder. Can you? Really? What are you talking about? Do you know what your mother's dying wish was? I shook my head, afraid to hear the answer. She wanted to see our family whole again. She wanted to know that after she was gone, we'd all still be together, still love each other, still be the family she was proud of. Okay, and every time I look at you, I remember Jake's wedding. I remember you screaming at me in front of 200 people, telling me I was a terrible father, storming out of your brother's reception. I remember your grandmother's funeral, when you showed up so high you could barely stand. I remember the years when your mother cried herself to sleep because she didn't know if you were alive or dead. My chest was getting tight. Dad, that was over a decade ago. I've been clean for 12 years. I know. I've been there for this family. I took care of Mom when she was sick. I've been to every birthday, every graduation, every important event for 12 years. I know. Then why? Because I can't forget. He slammed his hand on the table. I can't forget and I can't forgive, and I'm tired of pretending that I can. We stared at each other across the table. I felt like I was falling. You want to know why you're not included in planning? Because this celebration is about the best of our family. It's about the people who brought joy to your mother's life, who made her proud, who never made her question whether she'd failed as a parent. I made her proud these last 12 years. These last 12 years have been damage control. You've been a decent person for 12 years. Congratulations. But that doesn't erase 23 years of disappointment. I couldn't breathe. You want to be part of the video tribute? What would you say? Sorry I missed most of your life because I was getting high. You want to help plan the celebration? Which part? Should you organize the part where we pretend you didn't steal money from her purse? Or should you handle the part where we act like you didn't miss her 50th birthday because you were in jail? Dad, I spent your entire childhood watching you break your mother's heart over and over again. And yes, you got clean, and yes, you've been better. But better doesn't erase what was. And I'm 60 years old, and I don't have many celebrations left. And I want this one to be about the children who made their mother proud from the beginning. I sat there in stunned silence. This wasn't anger or disappointment. This was calculated exclusion based on 15 years of resentment he'd been hiding. So I'm invited to attend, but not to belong. You're invited because you're family. But no, you don't get to belong the way the others do. You don't get to be part of the inner circle. You don't get to help create the memories, and you don't get to be treated like you never hurt us. Even though I've spent 12 years trying to make up for it. Some things can't be made up for. I stood up. I was shaking. Okay, I said, thank you for finally being honest with me. Where are you going? I'm going to give you exactly what you want. I left his house and sat in my car for an hour, crying. Not just sad crying, but the kind of desperate, body-shaking sobbing I hadn't done since early recovery. I'd spent 12 years believing in redemption, believing that people could change and families could heal. I'd spent 12 years being the best son, brother, and uncle I could be, thinking I was earning my way back into full acceptance. But I'd been performing for an audience that had already decided I wasn't worth forgiving. When I finally stopped crying, I got angry. Not the destructive, chaotic anger of my addiction days. Cold, calculated anger. If Dad wanted a perfect family celebration without the embarrassing son, I was going to give him exactly that. But first, I was going to make sure everyone understood what perfect actually meant. I started with research. I went through old family photos, emails, and social media posts to document my involvement in family events over the past 12 years. I found photos of me at every major celebration, holding babies, helping with moves, volunteering at school events. I documented the times I dropped everything to help family members, the money I'd lent, the support I provided. Then I created a detailed timeline, my addiction years versus my recovery years. The contrast was stark. Next, I wrote individual letters to Jake, Emma, and Sophie. Not angry letters, but honest ones. I need you to know that Dad has decided to exclude me from meaningful participation in his birthday celebration because In his words, I don't represent the best of our family. He's been systematically leaving me out of planning, coordination, and tribute activities because my past addiction makes me unsuitable for his curated celebration. I want you to know that I understand his position, and I've decided to respect it fully. I will not be attending the reunion. Not because I'm angry, but because I want Dad to have the perfect family celebration he's envisioned, one where he doesn't have to look at the son who embarrassed him. Please don't try to convince me to come. This is what Dad wants. And after 12 years of trying to earn forgiveness that was never actually available, I'm ready to give him what he wants. I love you all, and I hope you have a beautiful celebration. I sent those letters on a Wednesday. By Thursday evening, my phone was blowing up. Emma called first, crying, "Is this really what Dad said to you?" Every word. I had no idea he felt this way. I thought we were all past the addiction stuff. Apparently not. Jake called next. "I'm so sorry. I knew something was weird about the planning, but I didn't realize how bad it was. Did you know he felt this way about me?" I knew he still carried some resentment, but I didn't think it was this deep. Sophie was the most upset. This is not the family Mom would have wanted. She believed in forgiveness and second chances. She was so proud of your recovery. Dad doesn't see it that way. Then Dad is wrong. By Friday, they'd apparently had a family meeting without me. Ironic, right? And decided to confront Dad as a united front. The conversation didn't go well. According to Emma, Dad doubled down on his position. He said he had a right to celebrate his birthday with people who brought him joy, not people who reminded him of painful times. He accused my siblings of enabling me and said they were being manipulated by my victim narrative. He actually said that? I asked Emma. He said, "You've always been good at making yourself the victim and getting everyone to feel sorry for you." That hurt worse than anything else he'd said to me directly. The family blew up. Jake told Dad he was ashamed of his behavior. Emma said she wouldn't attend a celebration that excluded me on such cruel grounds. Sophie said Mom would be disgusted by Dad's lack of forgiveness. Dad's response was to tell them they could all skip the reunion if they were going to make it about him, meaning me. Within 48 hours of my letters, the family reunion was falling apart. Jake called to tell me he and his wife were not attending. This isn't the family I want my kids to think is normal. Emma canceled her hotel reservation. If you're not welcome, then I'm not welcome either. Sophie sent Dad a letter saying she was heartbroken by his treatment of me and wouldn't be part of a celebration built on excluding family members. By Monday morning, Dad had lost 3 of his 4 children from his perfect family reunion. The extended family started finding out when people began canceling. Aunt Carol called me directly. "Honey, what's going on? Your father says a reunion is canceled because of family drama, but won't explain what happened." I told her the truth. I told everyone the truth. I explained that Dad had been systematically excluding me from his birthday celebration because my past addiction made me unsuitable for his vision of a perfect family gathering, and that when I respectfully decided not to attend, my siblings had chosen to support me by also not attending. The reaction from the extended family was swift and decisive. My Uncle Tom, Dad's brother, called him directly. "Bob, what the hell is wrong with you? That boy has been clean for over a decade." Aunt Carol was even more blunt. "Robert, your wife will be ashamed of you. Family means family, especially when people have worked to better themselves." Dad's sister Susan didn't call. She just posted on Facebook. Disappointed to learn that the family reunion has been canceled due to one family member being deemed unworthy of celebrating with the rest of us. Some of us remember what unconditional love means. That post got 47 comments from extended family members expressing support for me and disappointment in Dad's decision. Within a week, Dad had gone from planning a 40-person celebration of his perfect family to sitting alone with his resentment and a canceled event. But the real kicker came from an unexpected source. My mom's best friend, Linda. Linda had heard about the situation to the family grapevine and decided to share something Dad didn't know she knew. She called me first. "Honey, I need to tell you something your father doesn't know. Your mother made me promise never to tell him. But given what's happening, I think you deserve to know." "What is it, Linda?" When your mother was in hospice, in those last few weeks, when she was mostly unconscious but would have moments of clarity, she talked about you constantly. My heart stopped. She would grab my hand and say, Linda, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud that he fought his way back to us. He saved himself, and he saved our family. She said watching you get clean and become the man you are was the greatest gift of her life. I started crying. She made me promise that if anything ever happened where the family tried to exclude you or make you feel less than, I would remind everyone that you were her miracle. Her words, honey, she called you her miracle. Linda shared the story with the entire family, including Dad. According to Jake, Dad broke down completely when he heard it. The man who had been so convinced that I represented the painful parts of Mom's life discovered that I actually represented what she was most proud of. Dad called me that night. I need to see you, he said. His voice was broken. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. We met at the same coffee shop where I'd had my 1-year sobriety celebration 11 years ago. The irony wasn't lost on me. Dad looked like he'd aged 5 years in 2 weeks. I've been wrong about everything, he said immediately. Have you? Linda told me what your mother said, about you being her miracle. Dad, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I do have to. Because I've spent 12 years punishing you for the worst version of yourself while ignoring the man you actually became. He was crying now. I was so angry for so long and I couldn't let it go. Every time I looked at you, I saw Jake's wedding. I saw your mother's tears. I saw all the ways you hurt us. I couldn't see how much you'd changed. Why couldn't you just tell me you were still angry instead of pretending everything was fine? Because I thought I should be over it. Everyone kept telling me how proud I should be of your recovery, and I felt guilty that I wasn't. So I pretended I was, but the resentment just festered. Dad, I can't change what I did. I can only be who I am now. I know. And who you are now, your mother was right. You are a miracle. You saved yourself, and you've been trying to save our family ever since. I don't want to save anyone. I just want to belong. You do belong. You've always belonged. I forgot how to see it. We talked for 3 hours. Really talked for the first time in years. He told me about the anger he'd been carrying, the guilt he felt about that anger, and the fear that admitting his feelings would destroy our relationship completely. I told him about the 12 years I'd spent trying to earn forgiveness that I thought I already had, and how devastating it was to discover that my best efforts weren't enough. They were enough, he said. They were more than enough. I was just too stubborn and too hurt to see it. So what now? Now I try to be the father you deserve to have these past 12 years instead of the father I've been. And the reunion? There's not going to be a reunion. I canceled it. Because of me. Because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was trying to create some fantasy version of our family instead of celebrating the real family we actually are. We could still do something. All of us together. You want that? After what I put you through. Dad, I spent 12 years working to get back into this family. I'm not giving up now. 2 weeks later, we had a small family gathering at Dad's house. Just the immediate family. The 4 siblings, our partners, and Dad. No extended family. No big production. No curated perfection. It was the best family celebration we'd had since Mom died. Dad made a toast. To second chances, to forgiveness that actually means something, and to my son who taught me that redemption is real even when the people who love you forget how to see it. Jake, Emma, and Sophie all made speeches about family, about the importance of standing up for each other, and about how proud they were to have me as their brother. I gave my own speech about Mom, sharing the memories I would have put in the video tribute, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. But the moment that really got me was when Dad pulled me aside privately. I want you to know something, he said. Your mother did see her dying wish come true. She got to see our family whole again. You made sure of that by fighting to get clean and stay clean. I'm sorry it took me so long to realize that the wholeness she wanted included honoring the fight you fought. Thanks, Dad. No, thank you. Thank you for not giving up on us, even when I gave up on you. So, Reddit. Was I wrong to blow up my father's 60th birthday celebration by forcing him to choose between his resentment and his family? I exposed 15 years of hidden anger and conditional love. I forced my siblings to take sides. I turned what was supposed to be a happy celebration into a family crisis that required everyone to examine their own capacity for forgiveness. But I also refused to accept being treated as a second-class family member after 12 years of proving myself. I demanded that my recovery and growth be acknowledged instead of overshadowed by ancient mistakes. The original reunion never happened, but we ended up with something more real and more honest. Sometimes the only way to save a family is to be willing to break it first. Update. 3 months later, Dad and I are closer than we've ever been. He started coming to my NA meetings as a guest speaker, sharing his perspective as a family member affected by addiction. He says it helps him process his own journey from anger to acceptance. We're planning a proper celebration for his 61st birthday next year, one that celebrates the real family we are, complete with our scars and our healing. Sometimes forgiveness isn't a gift you give once. Sometimes it's a choice you make over and over again. And sometimes the people who love you need to be reminded that they're capable of making that choice. Final update. 1 year later, we did have Dad's 61st birthday celebration. And it was perfect in all the ways that actually matter. The whole family was there, including extended family who had heard about the previous year's drama and wanted to show their support for our journey back to each other. Dad asked me to give the main toast, and I talked about second chances, about the difference between earning forgiveness and demanding it, and about how sometimes the strongest families are the ones that have been broken and chosen to heal together. The best part was when Dad stood up after my toast and said, "My son taught me that recovery isn't just for addicts. Sometimes families need to recover too. Sometimes parents need to recover from their own anger and learn how to love without keeping score. Recovery is a family journey, and sometimes the people who love you need to do their own work to meet you where you are instead of where you were. I'm grateful every day that my family chose healing over holding grudges, but I'm also proud that I refuse to accept conditional love disguised as family loyalty. Sometimes you have to be willing to lose everything to discover what's actually worth keeping.